Board so we can get started here. And I'm just gonna riff on the opening here. Hello, we're recording another episode of the Better Bit in Your Business Brat Chat podcast. We're here with our friend Shermaine Perry-Knights, and she's a bit of a literary genius here. We've got published author. She runs her own publishing company, and here we talk about our experiences in the military system and how it impacted our family and our family life before, during, and after everything. Shermaine, take it away. What are you doing? How's everything going?
I just love that we can get on together. Like this is part of the brat life that you can have not talked to somebody in 20 years and pick right back up and be like, hey, we're on chatting. What's new? And you just pick up where you left off, right?
Exactly.
Um, what's new for me? Everything has happened, right? All good things. But most importantly, I'm encouraging everybody to write their stories because we have some pretty cool memories that most people would say, you did what? Huh? No, that's not a real thing. With who? You actually know people that speak that language and eat that food? They're like, but I didn't know you spoke that language. You've lived there? Like these really cool moments that nobody would believe outside of the base walls, if you will. So I always tell everybody, you got to write your story because why not? We have some of the coolest memories out there that is just unheard of. So that's,
No.
in every pocket, every group I've ever talked to outside the base walls, they're like, you're what? You were born here, but you got your social here, but you graduated high school here, but you're not German. And I'm just like, yeah, what part of my life do you want?
I have this story. When I was trying to get into Southern New Hampshire University, they were like, "Oh, well, we need your high school transcript." I'm like, "Oh yeah," because I kept like five of them sealed from H. Arnold, right? So I mailed them one, and they're like, "Oh, the address on it says Germany. We'll try to get your transcript from University of Alaska because we don't want to pay a translator." And I'm like, "It's just unseal it. It's in English."
No, I am still running into that problem too because I am just starting a new job tomorrow and finding all of my documents and everything that are not still in boxes or not still like halfway somewhere away. So I'm still trying to unpack and like do all of that stuff, get all of this documentation. And then when I was coming from Germany back to Joint Base Lewis McChord, I was switching from Bank of America. I was switching from the overseas division to the stateside division, and it took them about 6 weeks to pick, or not 6 weeks, 6 months to pick me up for employment because of SOFA agreements.
Mm,
Because of the way that it was written, I was not rehirable, but it was that I was not rehirable for that base
got it.
because of, once we were PCSed and gone, work visa and everything else, I'm not a local national. So that was just interesting, just getting back on board there. And so yeah, paperwork and everything else when you move from countries, it just gets crazy and scattered just everywhere.
But you said sofa, and the average person is thinking a couch you sit on.
Yeah.
We hear sofa and we know this is like a big legal agreement between another country and the base, and people are like, a what? It's a what? So I have a lot of funny stories, but the high school diploma says Department of Defense Education Activity Schools, Europe.
No.
And so I was showing my husband, he was like, what is this? Even other people are like, what is this? I'm like, this is my high school diploma. And they're like, what high school is it? I was like, it's Wiesbaden High School. There was, it doesn't say that. I was like, it does. This is the school system. Ours says the school system. And even when you're going to jobs, to your point, they're like, yeah, we need to see your high school diploma. I was like, these are my transcripts. This is a copy of the diploma. And they're like, this is a real thing. I was like, it's a real thing. Please believe. Like I have degrees. I'm not faking a high school diploma. Like that would be the least of my concern, right? So I
Yeah.
think there's just more education and awareness needed for the
Oh
Brat
yeah.
experience because people go, "What?" Or they think you went to military schools and their mind flashes to the movie Major Pain and they think that's the experience. And I'm like, it was hilarious, but I got that last week and I was like, I'm a fan. The movie hilarious, but that is not at all military kid. That might be the other type of military schools.
Man.
we're not all delinquents. Some of us,
Right.
Oh, I was. Oh
maybe
man.
Doug in episode 2 because I have to poke fun at him just a little bit, but
It was a few, but not many.
yeah, not many.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the movie Major Pain. I remember, and this is military related because we had just moved to Hawaii, and that movie was out, and we went to the one of the last drive-ins in the universe, I guess, at the time. And where I'm watching Major Pain on this one, but they have another screen, and they're playing Candyman 2 Farewell to the Flesh on the other screen. And I'm like, how old was I? I think I was like 10 when this was happening, and I'm seeing all this stuff. I was like, oh no.
It's a dichotomy right there. You're looking at Major Pain and then Candyman's completely two different worlds, right?
Oh man.
But Shermaine, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing and what you've been doing after high school. Where have
Um,
you been in the world these days?
so I landed in Atlanta, and by being here first, I realized there's at least like 40 streets with the name Peachtree. Because I called my brother one day. I was like, hey, I was like, I kind of ran out of little money. I was hanging out on the train. I go to a place. I'm on Peachtree. He was like, which Peachtree? I was like, Peachtree. He's like, Peachtree Street. He was like, there's like 40 of them. And there's a Peachtree City. I was like, oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm on the corner of this and this, right? So a small thing like being in the US to me is a lot harder to navigate than being across the world, because you're driving on the 6, or you're catching this bus here, or you're getting that train to Munich. Like, it was, to me, it was a lot easier, even though it's a more complicated system. Maybe it's because it's more familiar. But I landed in Atlanta for college. I went to Spelman College all 4 years, stayed, did a number of internships, did my master's, blah, blah, blah. But my favorite things are traveling back to Europe, traveling back to the Middle East, getting outside the country, because the world just feels smaller. It feels safer. It feels closer. It feels more diverse traveling. And to me, travel feels like a love language. It feels like therapy. It feels like love and family and everything else. And a lot of times in the US, to me, everything is too divided. And it's like you don't see the three of us walking together somewhere in the street. We could, but people would be like, huh? Elsewhere, we're all different backgrounds. And your grandma who makes this recipe really well, and his brother makes that recipe really well, and you speak this language, I speak that language, and we're all just more of a close knit family. I miss that. So while I still live here in the U.S., my heart is like everywhere else. So I've spent a lot of time traveling. Flash forward, got my master's, started talking about some of the cool things I've done and traveled and stuff. And people are like, what? But you realize you don't really want to brag. I mean, your lived experiences can be seen as bragging to people who've never left the country. Because when you say you finished school in Germany and they're like, can I drive there? And I'm like, whoa, this is where we are. This is, for some people, like the limitation is real, and you don't want to make them feel small. So you just kind of share a little less.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you from? The dreaded question. The dreaded question, right? I'm like, well, what part of my life do you want? Where were you born? I said, California. I was here from California. I was like, well, we were kind of visiting family in between a PCS. So not really. He was like, well, where'd you get your social? Texas. And they were like, so you're from Texas? It's like, yeah, no. It's like, what your first memories? I was like, they were in England. They were like, what? So I was like, so, and this is where I started to say, I move a lot. He moved a lot, but it's okay. Like it's no big deal. Oh, I'm sad for you. I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. And that kind of became the title of the first children's book. I move a lot, and that's okay. When people hear that, they go, oh, I get it, I get it, I get it. So I spent a lot of time trying to explain I'm just a regular person, you know, nothing too extraordinary and regular, at least to all of us, right? It's
Yeah.
pretty similar experiences, but to everybody else, it's like you're some kind of alien because you've lived here, and you eat that kind of food and you speak this language. What? I went to a Turkish restaurant not too long ago, and I'm ordering in Turkish, and the person was like, "You speak Turkish? I've known you like 15 years. I didn't know you spoke Turkish." I was like, "You never asked me this. You never told me." I said, "You." I mean, it's not the kind of thing that just comes up, right? You didn't. You didn't ask me. I was like, "We spent 3 years there." They said, "Well, I know you lived there, but," and so just the more you talk to people, you realize your experience is actually a lot cooler than most people have ever lived, at least in the United States, right? It's pretty normal to travel outside the country. So got the master's. I started talking more about what I do, and I landed into leadership and learning development. It's like teaching on steroids for corporate America, and being a college professor for 8 years. And it's really cool because you look about the same age as your students, even though you're not the same age. So you kind of sit in the back, like, yeah, I hear this about the professor. And I was teaching U.S. history and American government, world history, world religion, loved all those courses years ago. Like politics is kind of taking a spin now. So it's a little bit different, but what it was traditionally was easier to teach at that time. So I would talk about my experiences in addition to American government. A lot of fun. Skip forward a couple years, met my husband, got married, and our baby is now a year and 4 months. So she is a foodie like me. She likes lots of foreign food. She's only got a few teeth. Loves to travel because, I love to travel. So I take her with me whenever we go somewhere. And she has like 6 stamps on her passport already, which is really cool to me because they're free when you travel with them under 2. So it's like, why not take her to Portugal and Germany? And then she's been to Italy, um, France, and the Netherlands, and then here in the
Oh,
US,
wow.
that 4 or 5. But
Oh,
just enjoying life and encouraging everybody I meet to write their story. So I decided I was going to not just work in training in corporate America, I would create a publishing agency because I want everybody to start telling who they are. Like your stories about kindness and empathy and friendship and love and things that most people aren't thinking about. Just like, why not write it? Because somebody's going to want to read it. Somebody out there's going to say, this is incredible. I want to know more about this person. And then they start connecting with you. So the coolest stories I've ever had is where a kid recognized me in the airport. And I was like, this is, first of all, I wasn't like dressed all professional. I'm traveling in cut up jeans, a little t-shirt, you're comfortable like you want to be. I was like, oh, hey, talk to the mom and everything. But somewhere across the world, then the parent said she got this book for him and he felt like somebody got it. The world was smaller. That person looked like him and it made sense. And it just changed how I view things. I said, I just want people to be able to see themselves in a story and to be able to say, I guess I could tell mine because it's cool enough instead of us making ourselves smaller and being silent and just kind of fitting in like everybody else. I don't think we were made to fit in. We were supposed to stand out. And so it's just sad when you see people trying to make themselves small.
And I really feel that. I mean, I used to say all the time, like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Look, I consider myself a world citizen." And like the past couple of years, there's been this like weird, almost animosity about it that I've encountered a few times. I said, "Oh, I feel like I'm a world citizen," and I had this guy like, "Well, you need to get on my level. I'm a universe citizen." And I'm like, "Okay,"
Oh,
like I was like, "Okay, I get it." Like, you think I'm
he must have been a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan. That's all I'm going to say.
he
I
could
just would
have
have
been.
responded to him 42 and walked away. That's probably would have been like
Smile and nod. You go, yeah,
42. Just keep on going. Keep them guessing just a little bit, right?
a little bit.
No, that's actually amazing, Shermaine. So your child honestly has had more travel experiences than a lot of people in the world, and
I guess so.
before they're even two.
I guess so. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
I feel like travel is an opportunity. It's about education. It's a love language. It's an experience that you could look at an atlas. You could you could look at the world map all day. You could hear people talk about other stories. But until you experience other parts of the world, it's different. People are like, oh, I read about this one incident with a knife in this country. And I'm like, you read about one incident ever, one incident that happened in like 50 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
I
it's not
mean,
the same.
and it's sort of like, with you being a writer, with you having that whole entire creative aspect. In order to write something, you have to have experienced it. And you can read something in a book, but until you've actually gone to a carnival or a Renaissance fair to see up hand, to hear the music, to smell the spiced meat, to actually hear the sounds, you don't have that experience. You kind of get this visual in your head, but it doesn't really resonate until you can actually go, until you can actually do it. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's super, super important because, those, in order to become a master, an expert, or anything, you have to be able to teach it. And to be able to teach others what you have to be able to teach from experiences. And if you've never experienced anything, you can teach words all day, but at the end of the day, that's just what it is. It's just regurgitation. It's not from actual experience.
Yeah, and I have to say this, and people are not gonna like it, but it's like when you go to college and you take a business class, and that professor has never had a business. Cringe. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, yes, there's something to learn from everyone. However, as long as this person has had a business, even if the business tanked, they learn something. They have real, grit. They can teach something. If I'm just looking in a book, and I'm a reader, I can travel in a book, I can learn a lot from a book. Nothing wrong with that. But I feel like there is a part of experience that it's so valuable. So in my first job out of college, there was an older gentleman I worked with. Love Horace to death. Love him. He is so much fun. He was much older than I was, right? Like probably our parents' age at the time, but he was the coolest person to work with. He told me, whatever you do, if you want to be good at it and seen as an expert, you need to teach, lead, consult, and publish in it. And I was like, really? And I never forgot that. So you got to be able to teach people. You need to be able to lead a project on it, consult with other organizations about that thing, and then publish, even if it's articles, something that because it's going to live on beyond you, marking you as an expert. And it just stuck with me because you want to be able to leave your knowledge out there somewhere.
It's awesome that you mentioned that because I actually my whole thing is my work ethic. I've always thought, oh, my work ethic's going to just carry me, right? But National Novel Writing Month, okay, I sat down, I wrote 85,000 words in a month, okay? But here's the thing though. Like it was articulate, but it just kind of like lurched from thing to thing and there wasn't any soul to it because I was doing the work, but I didn't have the experience and the expertise of doing that. And one of the best pieces of advice I got on writing was from Mr. Farrell, Farrell, if you remember him, the history teacher. He told
Mm-hmm.
me because I told him back in the day, I was like, I want to write a book because I'm still working on the same idea, like a quarter century later. But he said, if you're going to write a book, you need to start reading now. He's like, you've had life experiences, you traveled around the world with the military, but you need to actually and that's the thing is I still haven't read enough. And what I'm working on, I've only got like seriously about a good 5 pages so far that I'm happy with. And it's one of those things like a National Novel Writing Month is good practice to get that work ethic, to get that discipline, but
Yeah.
it's not something that you just sit down and do in a month.
I think you could do it though. So hear me out. Like you said, it has no soul, it's jumping topics. What if those were all, that was like spaghetti on a wall? You had to get it all out at first, right? But it's different concepts. I don't think you have one book. I think you have multiple books. And so the ones where you see the synergy, that goes together. Then there's a break and those go together. And there's a break and that goes together. And perhaps you separate it that way. And then you have like a developmental editor. You can find somebody in Fiverr very inexpensively to read through it and see what chapters work best with the other. And then they can kind of pull them closer together. And then you can go back and look and say, you actually have probably like 6 books in there instead of one. A lot of people are writing more books now that are under a 30-minute read because most people's attention span is very short and they want to be entertained and feel good that they finish something in a short period of time.
That's an interesting concept, actually. Like serialization of something would actually actually be
Mhm.
a lot more fun for me because I'm very scatterbrained. I used to I don't I'm very much in the whole NaNoWriMo like sphere when it comes to the jargon. Like I'm what they call a pantser. I fly by the seat of my pants. When I'm writing, I don't really have like an outline or anything. Well, I used to be that way. Now there's a program, I forgot what it's called. Anyway, I've been using that to outline everything. You can create character profiles and organizations and like political parties and religious parties and all, like you can build all of this stuff in there. And then when you're writing, if you get too off track, you can say like, okay, what did I decide about this character? What do I know about this character? What have I established for myself? You can kind of go back and re-reference all of that stuff, and it's helped me a lot to just be more organized. And that's something um, that I kind of attribute to just cognitive behavioral therapy over the years, just kind of like thinking about how I'm thinking, and because that's something I really never grasped. Like we had a lot of good teachers at General H. Arnold, and they were trying to tell me this stuff, but me being a teen at the time in the headspace that I was in, and it was just didn't really stick. But
But that's good though. At least you recognize it. You're working on it. I have to be honest, I write on sticky notes.
Oh yeah.
It's a wall of sticky notes, which
I
makes sense to nobody at first, right? And then I pull them and I put them in the right order. And then I like to write it out by hand on my notebook, which I know is a very long process at this point. And then I type it after it's all done, which is 3 different extensive. Again, it does not make sense to anybody but me, but it works.
I mean, hey, don't knock it. I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy that created Star Fox on Nintendo, like
Mhm.
he basically did all of his design, or not design, where all of his basic concept work on a napkin at a restaurant in Tokyo.
See?
Yeah.
Sounds like a genius to me. I just hate that I waste a lot of sticky notes, but it does work, right? And I use it and I segment the ideas first because I started writing one book and then I realized there's like 15 concepts in here. These are short stories. And I was okay, this one concept here, that's good. And then there's case of the missing ID because everybody's lost their ID at some point, at least one time, no matter who you are, no matter if you're telling the truth or not. And I was like, that's a separate story. Oh, wait, this one over it. I was like, these are all different stories. Which one do I feel most passionate about right now? Write that one, come back to these other ones. And maybe that's what you do with your writing. You look at it again, you ask that software, which one do I love the most? Which one is the most emotional? And then work on that and then say, I'll come back to the others. And some of these concepts I've come back to like 5 years later. They're written fully. I just didn't feel like that was the most important time to bring it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. I'm more of a Hemingway. I'm just going to write stuff and it's going to be what it's going to be. And
Mine too.
and it's all handwritten. It's all on notebook papers. Like I have binders. I have like 3 or 4 binders that's just filled with stuff. And I know that it's great stuff. It's poetry, it's prose, it's limerick, it's fiction, it's nonfiction, it's a little bit of everything. But
Yeah.
that's me. I'm not ready yet. When I'm ready, I'll put
It's
it out there.
okay. It's okay. You can do it any way you like.
I
In
know.
my mind, every time I write something, you guys will probably laugh at this. And shout out to Miss Kluver if she's watching.
I love
Um,
Miss Kluver.
I always think of Miss Kluver, and I'm just like, oh my God, is this good enough? Because if you took honors English, you know, she's
Oh,
an
yeah.
excellent teacher. She was
Oh,
very
yeah.
hard on us, and it did make my writing better. But Lord knows, I was just like, oh my God, is this good enough? So every time I write something, I think in my mind, is this good enough, or is she gonna call this fluff? I keep saying that to myself, and I'm like, wait a minute.
It was between
Let
her
me
and
slide this to my editor. Let me bring it back. Is it good
Mr.
enough? Is it good enough? I don't know.
Mr. Roberts was really, really difficult too, with some of
I
the
love him
things. But
too.
I love both of them. They were great. And Miss Kluver, she loved my brother and my sister. So she would always pull me out of class and she'd be like, this one time your brother, and it's like he graduated 4 years ago. Like, why are you telling me these things, Miss Kluver? But she was still bragging on my brother and my sister. And she wanted my mom. She's like, you need to have more children. Your children are just so well behaved.
I
Like,
can hear her saying that and shaking her head as she says that. It was just, that was just her movement.
You
We
know,
had some wonderful teachers.
oh yeah,
I have a really funny story about Ms. Kluver because I actually not many people know this, but I failed Honors English 11 in the 10th grade apparently. Because my mom was a helicopter parent. She was always in the school, okay, looking for me, finding out what I was doing, and so she's in the hallway. I'm looking for my son Jesse. Okay, and Miss Kluver hears that, and there's a kid Jesse in her honors 11 class. I'm in 10th grade at the time, and Miss Kluver's like, "Oh, he's failing my class. You need to come with me." And she like shows my mom all of these papers that this kid had barely wrote a paragraph and just turned it in. And my mom comes and finds me over at Miss Stockton's class and like grabs me by the collar. She's like, "You're coming with me. You're failing English." And I'm like, I know I got a D on that last paper for Miss Stockton, but I don't think I'm doing that bad.
I don't think I'm
And
failing.
she's like pulling me toward the other building, and I'm like, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "I'm taking you to your English teacher right now, and we're gonna have a serious talk." And I'm like, "My English teacher was where you just grabbed me from." And she's like, "What?" And we go and meet Miss Kluver. This is the first time I met Miss Kluver, and she's like, "Yeah, that's not the Jesse that's failing my class." And my mom's like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry, Jesse."
Shout out to your mom. She's just like, we're gonna handle it right now.
yeah.
I know the other Jesse.
Oh yeah, I think he was actually didn't he have dual citizenship or something like that? Like he was. I know he spoke fluent German. Like,
There's a few Jessies. Let me say that. So it may not be
Oh
the
yeah.
one.
There's
The one I'm thinking of doesn't have dual citizenship.
no,
There's a lot of people that I think of, and it's like, "Did I know you?" And then it was weird because, even, like, going back to, because we went back to Grafenwehr, so I was on Grafenwehr Vilsec, from, like, 2015 to 2019, something like that. Anyways, but then you were passing people, and it's like, "I really think I went to high school with that person, but I don't know," and you, like, wanna say something like, "I think you were in my freshman English class," but, yeah, you're like, that could just be a doppelganger, like,
It
and
could
so
be.
you're just like,
I'm just weird where I'm gonna ask. Like I was in Piedmont Park. No, it was Centennial Park here in Atlanta. This was a while ago. I
"Yeah,
thought I recognized somebody from 94. Okay, from
okay."
94 when we lived in Turkey. And I was like, Mom, my mom's there. I was like, Mom, I think that's so and so. She was like, okay, Shermaine. It was probably just a few years ago. She was like, "Do you know how long
Yeah,
ago that was? Are you sure?" I was like, "I think it's him." It would have been one of their friends. And she was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I think it's him." And I was like, "So and so." You kind of yell the name out and you look down, Mr. So and so. And you look down and he turned. I was like, "It's me, little Barry." And he was like, "How did you even recognize me?" Because last time I saw them, we were across the world in Turkey.
yeah.
Small world. And I just threw it out there and I was like, Mom, it's so and so. I was glad I was right because I've had several instances where I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, miss. I thought you were someone else. Like you're running up to hug somebody. So at least I just yelled out and looked down. It was pretty funny.
You
At least you're not hugging random strangers.
Well, we got to reconnect after like 20 some odd, 30 some odd years. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Absolutely.
do you remember
What were you
Brandon
saying, Justin?
Stevens?
I do.
Yeah, the funny story about me and Brandon actually. When we were
He's
in
coming on the
Mr.
show at some
Tread, huh?
point.
What's that?
I said, I think he's coming on the show at some point.
I want him to. He wants to do like a sports theme podcast, and I totally want to support him in that. I actually would love to have him have a segment about DoD sports teams. That would be amazing.
I think that'd be cool to like do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we're thinking about all different ways to branch out the podcast. Like you have
Okay.
no
So
idea the
I
things
know
we
some
have
people
planned.
as you're ready to branch it out who would love to come and talk.
absolutely. But me and Brandon,
Give him my contact.
Mhm.
Seriously.
in Mr. Treadwell's class. I think it was like the first day of class, and I'm sitting there at the back of the class next to Brandon, and I look over at him, and I'm like, because I don't know if it's my friend from the second grade, right? And I'm like, Brandon, and he kind of looks at me. He's like,
Oh.
do I know you? And I'm like, were you in Miss Jacobson's class in Sagamihara, Japan back in 1992? And he was like, Miss Jacobson? I haven't even thought about Miss Jacobson in forever. Yes, that's me. You were in my class. I was like, oh my God, how did we meet in Germany? Like, this is amazing.
That is the power of the brat stuff.
Oh yeah,
You could be
absolutely.
sitting next to somebody and be like, you went where? Oh my gosh. So a small funny story. My sister's in Stuttgart, Germany. So I go and I visit often, right? And my niece was like, she has a different name she calls me, but I'll just say Auntie Shemaine. She has a nickname. It's a funny nickname. Auntie Shemaine, do you know somebody named? And she gave me one of her teacher's names. I was like, yeah. I said I went to I think it was high school or college with them. She's like, you just know, you guys just know somebody everywhere. Like, of course she's a brat, but it was so funny. She's like, how do you know somebody everywhere? I said, I keep telling you, I know somebody everywhere. And it was really funny. And then one of their counselors at the middle school was a counselor at a middle school. My younger sister was in middle school. So my mom and her know each other. And my nephew's like, Grandma, you know her? She's like, yeah, I know her. So, like you said, you just see somebody in another part of the world because you're thinking they're here, and then they're magically here, and just like that, you connect, and it's so cool because you pick up, you left off, even if they went to a rival school, you have these experiences that tie you together forever.
No,
I
absolutely,
love that. I
absolutely.
really like that.
If I ever meet anybody from Lake and Heath, I'm just gonna give them a toilet seat in honor of Coach Cataldo because that was Coach Cataldo, the Lake and Heath flush with I don't know if y'all remember
Oh
the toilet seat.
yeah.
Yeah, that he always did at the pep rallies with the big toilet seat.
My lord. The other thing, Nick. If anybody remembers Nick Wade, he was actually in an airport
Mhm.
in Florida, and he saw Daphne Olson, and he was like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, so I just kind of avoided her. But it was definitely her, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's the right state. I
Say
believe she's
hi.
yeah. Like you should have just went up and said hi. He's like, I just I didn't know what to say, so I just avoided her. I'm like,
Hi. That's it.
I
How
don't
you
know.
doing? And then keep walking.
Some people get socially awkward. I don't know. The way that I've always, figured it, the worst anybody can ever do is like either they can kill you or they can tell you no. Like those are the two worst things that anybody could ever do,
Yeah, I guess
and
so.
no's not so bad. So,
I there's one of the so I like how we have like a rise of different Brat Facebook groups. I really enjoy them. There's one
yeah.
called Brat's Our Journey Home.
Hmm.
Yeah, you got to join it if you're not in it. I love it because somebody will post, and I just happen to see it on my phone over here, and it's like, hey, this might be a really long shot, but I'm trying to find my friend so and so from this place in the year 1966. True story. And it's like, here's a picture. I remember he went to Würzburg, and then there's people in the comments like, that's so and so. He looks like this person, and they're tagging the people and bringing them together, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And it's just the power of it. And then people tell these cool stories. And yeah, I love it. Like they're literally tagging the person, like, hey, is this you? Is this person? Oh, that's so and so's this person. And I love it because they're just bringing people together randomly. Somebody posted a photo in one of those groups of my one of my fourth grade classes. Yeah. No, fourth grade was one school, third grade was two schools. But fourth grade was one school, and they posted this photo, and I was just like, somebody tagged me in this. I was like, what picture is this? That's me sitting in the chair, like, oh my God, that's Miss Holland's fourth grade class. And they start tagging people. And I'm like, I haven't seen Courtney in years. And I haven't seen Sarah in years. Oh my God, that was my friend. And that was stateside before we moved to Italy.
Yeah.
It was so cool, just the way people are like bringing friends together. And some of these people have very different lives than what we ever, we had at that time. And I don't know, I just love it. I love everything about it.
Oh, absolutely. There's actually another Facebook page too, and it's called it's part of like the Brat chains that you were talking about because I've been watching those too. And I'm actually a member of the page that you mentioned, but there's one. It's called Military Brats Help Me Find My Childhood Friend,
I
and
know that one.
yep, you look for it. It's called Help Me Find My Childhood Friend. You give the administrators the name, whoever you're looking for, kind of what school they went to, they'll find them for you. Like I gave them a couple of people.
Man,
So
I
they will
actually
find them for you.
we tracked out. Well, they were like, man, I wonder what Zach Ibrahim is up to.
Yeah, we found
And
Zach Ibrahim. We
Oh,
connected, but we haven't actually spoken to him yet. But we're actually going to try to get him on the podcast too.
yeah, I mean, I was
love
like,
that.
shot in the dark. I was just like, I'm gonna search for him, and I searched for him, and I was like, huh. I remember he had facial hair really young, but I don't remember it being gray. But I think that's probably him.
That's such an odd thing to remember, but it would stand out if somebody had facial hair when they were really young.
Oh, I remember
No, I
I was
mean, when
totally
we were
jealous
like
of that. I was like,
14,
man, I want to
15
be.
years old, we're going to remember all the guys who had like a full beard, 14, 15
That's
years
true.
old.
You would remember that. You
Because
would
that's
remember
like
that.
that's the peach fuzz era where everybody, is walking around and they're all just kind of strutting around like a rooster,
Yeah.
That's that age.
Hmm.
Man, I miss back in like if there was one thing I could do is go back in time and just tell young Jesse like not everybody doesn't hate you. You don't need to act that way.
Well, it
That
was
was
so
my
much we tell our younger selves, right? I'd tell myself to invest in Microsoft, make sure you meet Jeff Bezos at a certain time.
Okay,
All the things that's gonna make me super rich.
so I don't know if you guys remembered the year that I ran around telling you guys that Bitcoin was stupid. A part of me still feels like Bitcoin is stupid. However, people with Bitcoin have actually made a lot of money, so it might not be as stupid as I originally thought. So I wish I would have invested in that. Like should have, could have, would have. Right?
I got a little bit of it. I didn't get a lot, but I was just like, let me try this thing out. Because I'm like, you know what? Everything people say is not good might actually be good. And the
Yeah.
things people say are good might not be good. So I was like, let me throw a few dollars in there. That's like when they had the cannabis stocks,
Yeah.
I don't partake, I don't care. But I was like, yeah, let me get a few of those little stocks over there. Let me put a few dollars in that and see what happens.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I
I mean,
remember
that's what Mr. Gote taught us. I don't know if you had Mr. Gote. That was like
I don't
seventh
think
grade.
so. Oh no, I
Yeah,
was
that was
very
that was
heavily.
middle school. Yeah, I was there for a long time, Charmaine. I think I was there for like
It's hot
five,
potatoed
6 years.
everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah, that was us. I was born in Texas, and then when I was 7, we moved to Sagamihara in
But
Japan. And then from there we went to Hawaii. Then from Hawaii back to Texas, then to Germany. Then I went to school. I went to a college in Alaska, and uh,
The one thing that I do want to actually talk about, so the DoDEA teachers, okay, some of our teachers, specifically, some of them would come in and they would only stay for like a couple of years, or they would be there like a year or semester, and then they would just suddenly like disappear. And I don't know if you remember Mr. Treadway. Do you remember Mr. Treadway? He taught like Algebra 2 Trig like for 2 years.
No.
And he used to work for Enron.
Okay.
And I always
Interesting.
found that weird because he was teaching us like before like the stock exchange, like before the marks went to euro, because we were over there when that happened. He was
Mm-hmm.
showing us how we could actually use the exchange rate to take like German marks, how we could actually convert it to the British pound, to convert it back to like the Italian lira, to convert it into like a ruble, back into the pound, back to the US dollar, to get like $10,000 like in gains. And he was teaching us like the percentages and stuff to do that in class, but he was using the Algebra 2 trig formulas to do it. But it was just funny the way he was like
Oh,
showing us to move
wow.
money like that. It's like, and then I found out he worked for Enron later on, and I'm like,
This makes sense.
huh, like it's kind of,
I wish I had him because I might have actually listened to that as a kid.
oh man,
no, he was brilliant. He was
I would have
absolutely
listened to
brilliant.
that. I would have.
Yeah.
you
Because
know,
I'm just like, oh, some people say, oh, they can't do this or they will. My mindset is like, man, why not? Like, I'm like, I'll try it.
I remember being in his algebra 2 class. Like he had a way of just like if you didn't understand something, he had a way of explaining it to you in a way that you could. He would find a way to connect with the kids, and that's always the mark of a really good
Oh
teacher for
yeah.
me. And with
Absolutely.
him, like he taught me to understand the algebraic process, right? In that at one point, because there was a bonus question, and I was like, I really want to get over 100% on this test because I've never done that on a math test. And so I'm trying to do this bonus question, and they're always like, "Oh, find the x-intercept." Well, this one's like, "What's the y-intercept?" And I went to him and I was like, "I really want to get this, and I don't understand it. How do I find that? You haven't taught us how to find the y-intercept." He says, "No, I have." And I was like, "Well, how?" And he's like, "You know how. Use algebra to rewrite x-intercept for y-intercept." And so
Yeah.
I did this whole solving for y instead of x thing, and I came up with this y-intercept formula, and I did that, and I actually got the question right. I was like, it blew my mind. And then from there, I was in Mr. Richards' chemistry class, and he has this like little evaluation test that he gives everybody before he even lets you really continue with his chemistry class. And he's like, yeah, here's some problems, solve for this variable, solve for that variable. And people were like, I'm not getting a single number. And I'm like, you're not supposed to. You just have to have, if he says solve for y equals the rest of the gobbledygook. Like you isolate y by doing algebra. That's he wants to know if you
Hmm.
understand how to do algebra. And they were like, "Oh, okay, I understand that now." And anyway, I'm nerding out. Once an episode, I mentioned the fact that
It's
I am
fine.
probably on the autism spectrum. It's a big
And I
shock, I
laugh
know.
when you say it. He does. He says it every time once per episode. I'm on the autism spectrum. I said, Jesse, you don't have to tell people
You can
anymore.
tell people that,
It's
but
okay. We
you
know
are you are allowed to go deep into a memory as far as it will take you.
exactly.
As
This is
far
an
as it
open
will
See,
take you.
space for that.
I don't remember specifically any of our conversations back in the day, Charmaine, but like I remember every time I talked to you, I could just info dump and rattle off on all this stuff, and you would fire right back, and we would just, I
That
think
sounds
we
like
only
me.
we
Just
only
had a good
really we
time.
only really talked like two or three times, like really, really, but man, it's just and every time I reconnect with somebody, I'm like, oh, I took it all for granted. Like not even just talking to the other people there. Like we would go on these trips, and I've got like my Game Boy Advance, and there's the Thinker like right there in front of me, and I'm like, like playing Yoshi or whatever, and I'm like, I think back on it, I'm like, I was right in front of Rodin's The Thinker. Like that's crazy. Like
Yeah. I go back in my mind, I replay some of my favorite memories, especially when I have sad moments of where I was, the smells in the air, the food I was eating, the people I was talking to at the time, and I say, you know what? It's okay. And you just talk to yourself, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. However it is you calm yourself down when you're upset.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I go back to those memories and those conversations and the moments and the people that you love that have passed on and all this kind of stuff. And I relive it. I totally get it. And I'll think, wow, I actually shared space with that person, and they're off doing these amazing things. So it's
Like
cool.
Mr. Dudley, Miss Stockton used to bring Dudley around once a year, and
Oh, I
like they
love Mr. Dudley.
he was just awesome. Like he would talk about
I
World
don't
War
know if you
II.
remember Mr. Dudley.
I do.
Oh yeah, just great humanitarian, great human perspective on everything. Like you think of World War II and you think of like Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, whatever, and it's he made you stop and think. He's like, I saw a German soldier crawling toward our bunker with a grenade, and I knew I had to kill that man. And he's like talking about everything that he was going through in his head when he had to do this, and it really, like as a young kid, it's like I understand the gravity of all this, and it's just we're very fortunate to be in that environment.
Oh, yeah,
Mr.
absolutely.
Nozzle was one of my favorites.
Oh, Mr.
Remember that
Larry
teacher?
Nozzle.
Love Mr. Nozzle.
Mr. Nozzle was
He's
great.
gonna give you a good story every time, tell you about some lady in a red dress. And then and then you had to learn how to change all the fluids and a tire. Boy or girl, he did not care. You were gonna learn. He was like, you're gonna learn this before you pass this class. And I appreciate it because while I don't do these things now, it is good to know because once upon a time I have changed tires, I have changed my fluids and stuff, and I always credit back to Mr. Nozzle. So
Yep. I
I co-owned and operated a mechanic shop, but I have to credit that one back to my brother. So,
so give credit where it's due.
yeah. But my brother had to learn it from somewhere, so I'm sure he picked up some of it from Mr. Nozzle, at least a little bit of it.
Oh, probably, definitely.
Yep.
And that's one thing I'm learning. As we go through life, like I'm not going to say because I will never say a woman's age on any kind of public forum, but
Don't say that because you already lied. You did this like 3 episodes
I
ago when you
did,
called out my age
I
to
did, and that's
everybody.
that's why that's
Aren't
why
we
I'm saying,
Yeah.
all the same age?
yeah, we are. I was born in '85, so
So 86. So look,
I was
I'll just
from
tell you
80.
this. We are all old. Listen in, guys. We are
There
all
you
old to the kids born in 2000 and later. If you have never
yeah.
gone and spoken to a kindergarten class, it will humble you, okay? I made the mistake of asking kindergarten what age they thought I was.
go.
72, 86. All these random ages. And I told them, I was like, at the time I was 38, and they were like, like I said, 112 or something. I was
Oh,
going,
yeah.
Oh,
When I found out that one of our classmates, okay, one of our classmates, like in our class, about I think 2 years ago, became a grandfather.
oh, there's a few of those. Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah,
Um,
the first one you find out, that's heart palpitations right there. It's like, what do you mean he can be a grandfather? If he can be a grandfather, that means I can be a grandma. Like, no.
that's funny. Look, then the kindergartners proceed to tell me how I'm older than Netflix.
oh
Okay.
no, that's the thing. You tell young kids
And
like I'm
then
old.
they ask you how was watching black and white TV, and did you have a horse and buggy? And I was going, hey, let's get back to talking.
It's like I'm not that old now. Okay, I was
Yeah.
around for the auto car.
The
Okay.
teachers got a good laugh at this. It was like a room full of kindergartners. I was like, you know what? This is humbling. I guess I'm old to someone.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Like I enjoy. I like the aesthetic of the older gentlemen. I love them all. So like I'm ready to be an old
No,
man. I'm ready for
I
that.
love I
Um,
love kids, but I have had like people from Gen Z, they've looked at me, why are you so mean? And I look right back at them. I'm not mean, I'm truthful. And if you can't handle the truth, you need to get out of my face. And for some reason, they can't handle when you say things like that to them these days. I
You know,
don't understand.
we're a little bit different. We probably were the same way with much older people when we were their age.
well, yeah,
But
me and Amber had that conversation. Like, is this what our parents felt like when we were kids asking these questions? And I was like, yep, that's exactly it. And like you tell a kid you're older than the internet, and they look at you like you're saying you're older than the mountains and the sea. Like,
but I also let them know that I always had a computer, and they're like, I was like, we had computers in school. I'm not that old, so it's very funny. But I do like not just going to schools. I'll go to organizations and kind of talk about military kid experience, talk about like resiliency, talk about how they can like push through change and not just let it happen to people.
Yeah.
Like there's more you can do. So like with those of us left behind when things happen, what does that process look like? How do you help them grow and not just have disgruntled employees? How do you help them prepare through transition strategically? So I like to say workshops that stick.
No, absolutely, 100%. And you see, and that's the other thing about military brats too. And that was the other thing that I was talking about and reminiscing with Jesse and Alex, because when I got my first job, okay, so right after high school, and I was accepted to college and everything else. My dad had a kidney transplant that year. I ended up working 2 full-time jobs, pulling 15 credit hours at the University of South Alabama. But I was only my first time, my first position that I ever had, I was a cashier at a thrift store, and it was a very large box thrift store. I was only a cashier for about maybe 3 to 6 months before I was promoted into management. Now I was like 18 years old. And so now I have like this whole entire night shift at like 18, 19 years old. By the time I was 21, I had 96 employees. And then when I go back and I start thinking about my career and my career trajectory, I've never had a position not in management. Like that 6 months that I was a cashier, that was it. Like pretty much for me, other than, working here and there. Cause, I've sold cars, I've done this, I've done that, I've done a lot in like the entrepreneurial realm. But it's that resiliency, but it's also the fact that I think we have to manage a lot, even, as kids, just because, we have a job with a family unit when we PCS, everybody has like a job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if your families did that, but, one
Yeah.
person might have to write all the numbers of the stickers. One person might have to write, X, Y, and Z, count the boxes, that sort of thing. And when you're raised like that, it builds those skills, for future careers, and I mean future leadership opportunities. It builds future leaders. I think that resiliency and just the environment and how we grow up.
I like to say I'm always ready for anything to happen. I mean, I don't know if that's a trauma response. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I'm always prepared for plan A, B, A, C, D, F to not work.
Yep.
And so I always have an extra thought. But that's why when things really come out of nowhere, it really hurts because it's like I prepared for all things, but I couldn't prepare for that. So I don't know, like you said, it's the lifestyle where you learn how to, I don't know, put a little bit of courage and strategy into everything and always think of what you're not supposed to think of and always be aware of everything around you and always try to plan multiple things. And if nothing else, just to be kind to people because I don't know how I'm going to interact with you later in life. Like, what if we were total, just completely terrible to each other in high school, right? You'd be like, I don't want to talk to her anymore. I want to talk to him.
That's
Because
so
there are people like that and you see them and you're like, oh, wait a minute, you want to say hi to me? You were terrible, right? You were like the worst. And so
yeah.
I really believe you don't know how you're going to interact with somebody later on. So at the very least, just be kind or just leave them alone. I ran into somebody, she invited me to like a school visit. And I didn't realize it was somebody in that picture from fourth grade, right? She's like, oh, can you do a virtual visit at my school? I did that fine. And she's like, I was telling the students I really know you. And I was thinking to myself, how do I know this person, right? So she starts talking. She's like, yeah, when I moved to Warner Robins, Georgia, this was the beginning of fourth grade. She's like, you told me I could sit with you at the lunch table. I said that. She's like, yeah. She's like, I was brand new. You're like, you can sit with us. And I was like, this sounds like something I would say. And we became friends and we rode bikes home together sometimes. And apparently I loaned her a pencil at some point. I don't know. It's her, she remembers that. I don't remember that. And just like that, you never know how you're going to meet somebody, almost 30 years later?
Yeah.
And then you have an opportunity for them to create a moment for you. And it was nice and it was kind. And I was like, wow, I said, I didn't even remember that. She said, I remembered it because it was my first day. And I said, I was always kind of unofficially a student sponsor, like, yeah, you can sit with us. You can walk with me to class. Like, I kind of enjoyed, I was always a new kid. So I didn't mind meeting the new kid and making them feel welcome. And it was nice, to Jesse's point, like you want to be able to look back and have a good memory with somebody, even if it was only one or two interactions. I want to have a nice memory, something positive to say about you, as opposed to, oh yeah, that person, no matter what, I don't want to talk to them.
No, yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I actually met you. I remember meeting you, Shermaine. You newspaper, nostalgic
Yes, we love the
newspaper.
newspaper crew.
Yes.
We were forced and nobody realized it. I'm
Y'all
sorry.
were y'all were an absolute force. And I ran my underground student newspaper through y'all's newspaper. So
And
hey,
the yearbook committee. I'm trying to tell people like we're a big deal.
y'all were huge.
Because the lady in the front office would let us make some copies and people didn't realize, like, can I make some copies? She's like, yeah,
Oh
if you go
yeah.
down here and get me a muffin. I was like, slide me your dollar. You know, sometimes you can get away, you go to the shop at and you get a snack for yourself and for them in exchange
Or
for the
when
copies.
or whenever the candy person would come. I don't even remember whenever they would open that up, but they would sell like the belts. And if you had like a nickel, you could get like 5 of like the sour belts. And so you had
Yeah.
kids like walking around with the candy all day.
It's so
Um,
expensive now, candy. I hate that.
Oh, I
it
know.
was expensive, but we used to trade candy for things too. It's like, hey, yeah, I've got those sour belts you wanted and like these Haribo fries from like the economy since you can't get off base right now because you're grounded. Um,
Good point.
yeah, I'll go ahead and like, do you have that paper assignment or whatever? Like I needed the, like we're
Smurfs. I've got the Smurf gummies.
exactly.
And
They
speaking of
don't
like,
understand.
oh, I
They
have
don't
the
taste the
assignments. There
same
was,
in the United States. It makes me sad.
oh man, you know, I'm in,
Doesn't it?
I'm,
No.
I'm in Canada
I'm so
now.
glad you said it. It makes me feel good.
They don't taste they're not the same.
They say made in America on it. They don't say made in Turkey or Germany. That's why.
Yes.
Because they're able to
Yeah.
put all the crap in it here. You're tasting chemicals here. That's why.
Well, it's not the it's like they're a different consistency too. They're like
Everything.
jelly. It's like, no, these are
Everything.
supposed to be hard and I'm supposed to be able to go and like,
Everything. It's welcome to chemicals on a platter.
well,
Yeah, I'm in Canada now, and I'm here with my partner. I moved here in March, and the first thing, well, I visited back in 2021, but or was it 22? It doesn't matter. Either way, I got here, and when I got to Calgary, I looked out the airport, and I was like, "This doesn't look like America." And I had this moment where I was like, "Oh." Like,
It's a breath of fresh air.
yeah. And I mean, not that I love my country, okay? I love what we stand for. I love the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. I think it's foundational to Western society, but like there's just something to being able to step outside, like Cat Mason said, step outside of your own zip code once in a while. And you know, when I came back to stay for good this year, I was at the Calgary airport again, and I was I was like, man, it was breakfast time, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the A&W and just get a hash brown. And I got the hash brown, and I bit into it, and I was like, it tastes like potato, not salt and
Real
grease.
potato. Real potato.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But I do think we are approaching an hour. So, Charmaine, do you have any advice or anything that you want to tell maybe military kids who are going through a hard time, or anybody listening out there? What do you want to leave our viewers with today?
so every time I talk to a younger group or the next generation of brats, I tell them how many schools I went to in all these countries. They're like, oh, it's 13 schools in 5 different countries, right? And they go, I was like, so understand that you are not the only person going through that, right? It feels like that, but we all went through it, right? And if you talk to other people around you, you're going to see they live that same experience. You're going to be fine. I was like, being a brat's like a superpower. I was like, you speak languages that nobody else speaks, whether it's broken Turkish or German, whatever, you can get around. You have this really great sense of how to run from danger and how to get help when needed. You're able to navigate places that people can't even spell most times. And you have some really cool terminology and like entire experiences that are out of body for other people. So I always let them know that what you see as like a terrible thing is actually really, really cool. And someday you're going to love it because there's like brat groups of us in our 30s and some of them in their 70s and 80s. And these people still hang out hard. There is a group from VSPOD that hangs out hard once a year, like from 20 something to like 80 something. They get together once a year and they have a good time. So you will find your people, right? And I say your people, I mean brats, people of all backgrounds just like you, And it's a breath of fresh air, like traveling where you go, oh, they get it. I don't even have to explain to Jesse. He gets it when I'm talking about, you know, I want to eat this particular food. You get it when I'm talking about the candy or the lifestyle of being elsewhere. So I always tell them just continue to go through it, but understand there's a lot more support now for you guys than there ever was for us. So you start off with your cup half full. Our cup was
Absolutely.
like a drip in there.
And the other thing that I will say as well, within allergens within legal limits, of course, but don't be afraid to try new things. It's super, super important when you get out there to try new things, because if you go, to give you an example, okay, and when we were little kids, we all heard other little kids say it about the liverwurst. Oh, this tastes like cat food. Oh, this smells like tuna. Oh, I don't want to eat. It's liver, okay? It's not for everybody. I think it's delicious. I've always thought that it's delicious. It's not for everybody, but the thing about it, try it, okay? Try
Yeah.
it, that way you can say this is why I don't like these things, instead of insulting somebody else's culture and somebody else's food, because you're respecting their home when you're there. And that's an important thing to remember, especially in acts of diplomacy and things like that, that sometimes that we have to deal with. So, like I said, yeah, it might look funny, it might smell funny. Try it anyway. Okay. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
It didn't kill them. It's not going to kill you. Try
Go
it.
to the theme parks, right? Do something
Exactly.
different. Learn the language. Just do
Exactly.
it.
I
Do it.
mean, case in point, I remember when we moved to Japan, what did it for me? I tried calamari. My mom was like, just try it. And I was like, okay, I'll choke it down, you know. So I had this calamari and I was like, this is actually really good. And I knew what it was, and that's why I was kind of
Calamari
off put
man.
by it. But after that point, like I tried eel ice cream, like in Hawaii, I ate jellyfish,
Ooh.
okay, and like, yeah, it's actually it sounds strange, but it's okay because just because it's different doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be bad. It, when it comes to food, there's always something that you're not going to like. That's just called taste. But uh, don't limit
Uh,
yourself.
I'm from the South. There's not much I haven't eaten. Okay. We've
I
eaten gator. I've had
despise Southern
squirrel.
food.
Uh,
We lived in Italy and I tried fried seaweed balls. Oh my God. So good. So good.
oh yeah.
At first, I was a little leery and I was like, jump right in there. Became my favorite thing over that 3 year period. And then I even had buffalo stomach when I was there.
Hmm.
Was it my
We had
favorite? No, but I like to brag that I've tried this. So for me, if
yeah.
I'm outside the country, I'm like, I'm gonna try it out. In the US, I'm a little more leery just because of all the things allowed in the food here. But outside the country, I'm like, you know what? I could do it. And I just
Mhm.
taste it. And like you said, it's an experience. Just try it. See, I mean, this you have to try something at least like 8 times or more in order to actually know if you like the taste. That's why you always give babies the same thing sometimes multiple times. So we try something one time and go, oh, that's disgusting. Well, it's not disgusting. It's just you didn't like it the first time, and but the eighth time, the ninth time, the 10th time, you might like it. But as adults, we don't typically try things more than once.
I try things twice, but after twice, I know I'm not gonna like it, so I just don't. After the second time, it's just not good anymore.
See, you got to try like 8 times.
I know. I'm
But
gonna
who's
have to
doing
get
that?
over that hump. But thank you so much, Shermaine, for coming here today. And I know that you're touring. You said this month to the DoDEA schools, so you're doing a book tour.
Yeah. So I will leave this with you guys. I remember going to DoDEA schools, and I thought it would be fun during the shutdown to give back in a meaningful way, free of charge, to have virtual visits with schools, do a little bit of a book reading and talk to them about our experience and what they're feeling right now, and then just move forward. Nothing like share, not promoting anything. And the schools that I've talked to have been really excited. Like there was one in Germany, there was one in Virginia here, and then the next one I think is in Japan. So I was really excited about that. Just kind of a virtual tour, just to say, hey, thank you for what you're doing, teachers, and tell the kids like, hey, I'm much older than you because they can never get over the age thing, but we have the same experiences. And I show them a picture of me, like back in that age group of whatever age I'm reading to, and they're like, you know, like you couldn't have been young in a black and white photo, kind of thing. And it's fun, it's different, and it makes them feel seen. And I want them to feel heard, seen, celebrated, because nobody knows about military kids outside of like I want to say Veterans Day and the I got to say this. I'll say this and I'll stop. we don't celebrate Memorial Day, guys. We like barbecue and all this kind of stuff, but it's a sad day. It's not a celebration. Please stop wishing
Exactly.
anybody that's connected to the military happy Memorial Day. It's like a stab at the heart. Please stop doing that.
Oh yeah.
Please enjoy your barbecue. We like barbecue too, but it's not a happy day. It's a solemn day.
See, and that's the Veterans Day too. Some people are happy veterans, some people aren't. So it's kind of a Veterans Day's always been weird for me because it's like I don't know if I should say Happy Veterans Day. I don't know if I should say
I just
Remember
say thank you for your
Veterans Day.
service.
I just
Holiday.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, but meaningfully, not just lip service. And it's
We
just
got
kind of one of
stuff.
those awkward days because then you have like all of these sales and stuff going on, and
Yeah,
it's just
to get
like
money.
everybody's
Yeah, what I do on Veterans
uh,
Day, in Texas, a lot of the veterans they will put on their T-shirts or their Marine hat, and if I see them, I just walk up and shake their hand, say, "Hi, I'm Jesse. I, was in Germany. My dad worked with the Defense Logistics Agency, and I saw that you're a Marine. I just wanted to shake your hand, you know?"
Yeah. And let people know Brat served too. Like, stop saying we don't serve. We did. My whole life since I was born, I've been serving. I have a job. I had
yeah,
a defined job of what to do to avoid consequences and to get the rewards, right? So I let people
exactly,
know the entire family served.
exactly.
It's
And I
Yeah.
mean,
important to be a uniformed service member, but we all served.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean that's the other things we've been explaining in the other episodes. If you've listened to some of the other podcast or
Mhm.
some of the other podcast episodes, the military being a hive unit. Because yes, you have the soldiers, you have or I say soldiers, but you have the service members, right? Then you have their families. Their families are like this whole entire unit that's behind the service members that are dealing everything at home, and then in the center of that you have the kids, and it's all a hive, and it's yeah,
Yeah. I would say that the service members depend on the family. Like how we're dependents,
absolutely.
they depend on us to support them.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
without
Absolutely.
without the
100%.
support at home, it makes it hard for them to do what they need to do. Think
Absolutely.
about it, if your kids are running amok and your spouse and everybody else is like in shambles, you can't get out there and do what you need to do because
Well,
you're
we
worried
we
about the other pieces. So this dependence, you really depend on them like they depend on you.
well, we've also seen the communities where some of the dependents do just kind of run amok.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. 3 strikes and
yeah,
you come back to the
those
state.
those are those are everywhere, unfortunately, and it's like come get your goblins. Like
Oh
I
no,
don't
they're like,
I don't
You're going back to the States. You got 3 strikes."
it's like,
Or if the first one is bad enough, you're going back. We're taking your ID card.
yeah, that's how we were raised. I don't know. They get away with some stuff these days. I tell you what, when I went back up there and I was watching kids do certain things, and I'm like, was he really just trying to hit that glass with the stick? And I'm thinking, like, German poets, like, they're gonna, like,
Yeah, no.
I don't want to be his daddy. Like, I just, I don't know
they
who that kid was, but, you see him do stuff.
they rounded me up for not having my Ausweis when I was out late at night, and they took me to the MP station. My mom was mad. Like it was bad.
But thank you so much, Shermaine, for coming on here today. Like I said, you were welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be breaking off into different segments and doing different things. So, like I said, come back and definitely stay tuned and see what we're doing because trying to create something beautiful. So hopefully, I can do that.
It's gonna be beautiful. It
I
is.
think
And like you
so.
said, creating the different pockets. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. I think at some point we should do like a writer's workshop or something on here. It could be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Where they can
absolutely.
just like they could do like a brainstorming kind of thing and then just start it. And then what they do from there, they do. But it's like, just get it out.
You know what we
We
could
have a
do?
Discord now. We do have a Discord now, so it's up and coming.
Oh, you have Discord. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say if you want to do a writers workshop, that's something. Right now we're trying to
I'm
build the
looking into school too,
yeah.
the school accounts.
Well, we have a Twitch account, and we could do like live writers workshops on Twitch as part
We
as
could.
as a thing we could do. Um,
Okay.
so I'll keep talking to you about that. I've got a lot of stuff. I'm building websites for people, Michael Floyd, um, and I'm doing graphic design work for Brat Chat and Better Business Business. I produce the whole thing, so I'm wearing a lot of hats at the moment. But there's so much that I want to do with you guys because I love reconnecting with everybody. Like me and Alex Bagwell are working on a cookbook. We want to make like a dish for every place where the U.S. is deployed that has accompanied tours. So like the state dishes for all these
Oh,
different places.
that's cool.
And
Mhm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on right now. But I would love to dig deeper. Like I had this dream, and I swear I'm gonna shut up after this. I'm sorry, y'all.
Just
No,
just don't give away all of our secrets,
no, no, we're not
Jesse.
gonna get what
Your
like
your
well
your boss your boss is
Give
going to
them
hit you with
all
something
away.
friendly
no.
from Georgia.
Um, no, I
Throw
had
my
this
shoe from Canada.
I had this dream the other night that like the Brat Chat brand or not brand but like the whole Better Business media segment ended up like me and Amber were old walking down this hallway and we were talking about how we started this Brat Chat thing and eventually we got the funding and we replaced the entire Armed Forces network with our media empire and I was like
Ooh, AFN. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
got some dreams there for the AFN, but we've got some ideas for AFN too,
you should
as
just
far as
connect.
supplementing.
You should just connect and see if they'll share. I mean, you never know. Sometimes they just need content. They might share that out or Stars and Stripes or
Oh, and
I'm
I
by
just
the
interested.
again my philosophy is why not? Why not now? Why not me? And I just shoot my shot at any of these big media giants. And sometimes they're like, okay, and other times they're like, we'll come back to you.
I I have strategy. I'm working on it. I've
Well,
got a
the
couple.
strategy too, but sometimes just shoot the shot.
I got a couple of things like bubbling first that I have to hit a couple of points first before I get there. But
Yeah,
it's
just
in the
shoot it now, and then
pipeline.
by the time they get back to you, to hit the point already.
There you go.
all right, I'm
Or
gonna I'm
or
gonna
start reaching out to famous brats too.
oh
Because I hear Shaq is a brat, Reese Witherspoon, and some other really big ones.
I could do that. We actually, believe it or not, for Veterans Day, we have Dr. J.R. McIntyre who is going to be on the show. Now, this show is actually airing after Veterans Day, but Dr. J.R. McIntyre, he's actually a Bronze Star recipient, but he was a military brat. Um, he is actually the top out of keynote speakers in the world. He is number 49 in the world. He was on our show. He's actually we're going to air it or drop it on Veterans Day. We were recording with him last night or night before last. So
Nice.
yeah, we've got some people coming.
I'm
He's
excited
got
for you.
the
I'll be
Hood
watching.
Motivators is his right now. He's a public speaker and a life coach. So if you haven't checked him out, he's got some pretty powerful things to say.
That's nice. I'll definitely check it out.
Oh yeah.
All right, I think we're good here. We'll go ahead and end it now. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Shermaine, for spending an hour with us tonight. It was so much fun. I really want. I'm gonna keep bugging you on Facebook, talking to you about book ideas and stuff because I'm just a nerd.
It's
But
not bugging me.
okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit. Thank you again, everybody. Good night.
Absolutely. Good
Bye.
night.